So is perfection always a goalpost?
No. But maybe it's not never a goalpost. Just last week, I was in my backyard making a ton of noise. My neighbor Eve pops her head over the fence.
Hi, neighbor. What you guys doing?
I then got in a conversation with Eve, and I got to tell her about why we were planting. We had a huge storm about 3 weeks before that. I had this one corner of my backyard that was just real close to exactly where I wanted it to be. Had this amazing, cozy, layered shade, and the storm came and broke off the biggest branch of this tree, probably a third of the tree gone. Eve is one of those people you always want to take serious. She's never overly serious, always sincere, always looking out to help basically everyone around her. And over the last few years, she's been looking for better methods to build small homes for herself and for other veterans who are willing to get hands on and actually build. We have been developing a system over the last couple of years where someone could do just that. Eve has been consistently asking me, when is this available? I want to build this thing. When can I do it? And I think we're actually getting fairly close on that. So we had a really great conversation about that progress we've had over the last year and what's possible and when it's possible. And she, reminded me there are people out there who really want to build this way and want to be involved in a hands-on fashion. I think it's tough when we have these challenges and these setbacks. They're really hard not to dwell on them and be overwhelmed by them, and to see the loss of this approached perceived perfection. But when we zoom out and we take a little bit different viewpoint, a little bit different path that maybe has a little more interest to it, a little more creativity involved, and leads us in a direction more interesting than where we may have been heading.
Things can seem perfect, but have absolutely hidden flaws in them. So all we're really doing when we strive for perfection is we're kind of ignoring all the hidden flaws of the system. And so from a systems perspective, perfect is an absolutely unattainable goal. We should focus more on the qualities of that we want out of it and trying to achieve more of the holistic balance, because that becomes a better driver. You start learning now more about material selection. When you combine multiple materials together, what's the outcomes, right? You get emergent properties when you start playing around with the system and with all the pieces. Whereas if you're just striving to hit some very specific goal and ignoring all the rest, you're really limited on the curiosity of what that could have been. We keep coming back to health as like our driver. When we're focused on health, it brings visuals more into alignment with who we are and what we really value. Do we value our health? Hopefully everyone says yes to that.
This video is sponsored by us, Nopal. Over the last decades, we've been on a mission to learn absolutely everything we can in housing around health, calm, focus, and resiliency. Now we're on a mission to share what we've learned with you. We're doing that through free content like you're viewing right now, one-on-one help through our guide services, design through our architecture services, or through our design build services. We can go through the entire process of your ideas through a custom design we collaborate on, and then actually build that into a finished home for you.
What are we optimizing for? And is perfection a thing, or are we missing the real goal of what life is? Calm, peace, joy, community. Those are not like, I think everybody's like, oh, if I have this perfect thing, I'm going to make a community. But we know stories do better when there's imperfections in it. We know people relate better to things where there's struggle, and people want to help. So if you have a perfect life and no one like no one's going to be invited to help because everything's done. And that's kind of sad. I feel like the saddest part of perfection is, and I think why we keep striving towards it is we don't want to make adjustments to what we already have set in our heads. And part of being creative is like having a sort of fungible mindset where we can change. I don't know if fungible is a word, but I'm going with it. But it's, where it is malleable, right? You have a mindset, you're like, oh, we want to go in this direction, but things change and you make the change to reflect it. And to me, perfection is a sort of begrudging, never ending fight against that. We have this thing in our head, we must execute exactly this way. Why? Why do we have to stick to that? And so we lose a lot of creativity because in fun and joy, because we get so stuck in this one specific way. That's the sad part.